Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into your weekly dose of college football, guys. Big week 2. Oh my goodness. Ohio State loses to Oregon. Huge games. Week 3 coming up, guys. Let's get into this. We're going to be taking a look. How about this? Some bowl predictions here. Updated bowl predictions as of September 14th. So after week 2, we've got Bama and Georgia in the championship and all SEC championship. The Cotton Bowl, Alabama, Oklahoma, Orange Bowl, Georgia, and how about Oregon now projected to make the playoff? The Peach Bowl, Ole Miss, and Clemson. This was a really good Rose Bowl game, I thought. Ohio State and UCLA. How about Kentucky taking on TCU? There's some nice matchups there. The Fiesta, Cincinnati, and Iowa. I really like those matchups. Just some interesting things to look at. 2022 early mock draft. There's been a lot of hype around Carson Strong, hasn't there been? My goodness, number 1 overall. We'll see him this week. We'll see how he does. He has a tough matchup. Kyle Hamilton is just a complete beast. Kyle Hamilton reminds me of Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams went 5th overall in the draft. Kyle Hamilton mocked 4th here. Week 3 AP top 25 by conference. The fact that, Auburn and Arkansas. So here's the thing with Arkansas. I like KJ Jefferson. I really do. But they were losing to Rice at halftime week 1. They beat Texas. I thought Texas was going to be good this year. Maybe that's a good win. I don't know. It turns out I don't think Texas is really that good. They should be starting Casey Thompson, not Hudson Carr. I know they made the change. They're going to be starting Casey Thompson this week. But yeah, 7 SEC teams. Auburn has beaten Alabama State and Akron. Now, they do have, Penn State this week, but I don't know about that. The Big Ten, the ACC, I don't think the ACC should have 4. But, who are you going to argue? I would say Miami shouldn't be ranked, honestly, out of the ACC. The Big 12 only right now has 2 ranked teams, and the American only has 1. I think UCF should be ranked personally, but that's just my opinion. Word around town is the USC head coach job is Luke Fickell's unless he turns it down. First of all, what is USC doing with Clay Helton? You probably had about 70 different opportunities to fire Clay Helton, but then you decide to keep him and then fire him 2 weeks into the start of the season. What a fiasco that is. It's just really tough on the kids when you have a coaching change midseason, let alone week 2. It was a terrible loss to Stanford. Clay Helton should have been fired 3 years ago. But then they're going to keep him, and then fire him after 2 weeks? What a mess. But if I'm USC, I'm looking at a guy like Luke Fickell. That would be a great fit. I am really high on Luke Fickell right now when it comes to being a potential, huge Power 5 head coach. We're going to have to see what Cincinnati's able to do, if they'll be able to keep him, kind of use that ploy that, we're going to a Power 5 conference, we're joining the Big 10, we're joining the Big 12. I wonder if that'll be enough for them to keep him. This is Joel Klatt's best jobs in college football. Now, looking at all these lists, they're always, very subjective. Texas, Alabama, USC, Ohio State, Georgia. You could argue any one of those 5 is the best job in college football, personally. Texas, people talk about why is Texas the best job. It's just their alum base, the money that goes into the program. Alabama's Alabama, USC's a huge program, Ohio State's the Northern Power, and then Georgia has such a crazy recruiting advantage. Their home state is so talented. So these are some week 3 picks, and I do not think these picks are against the spread. I was kind of surprised 3 out of the 6 people took Purdue over Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's overrated. I've said that from the beginning, but that surprises me a little. Same thing with Michigan State over Miami. People don't realize how big that Michigan State-Miami game is for both the Big Ten and the ACC. That's huge. If Michigan State goes in to Florida and beats Miami, Miami's going to be unranked. Michigan State's going to, hop probably into the top 20. This is a huge game for both of these conferences. Whoever wins this game, it's really going to jolt one conference up a little bit. I've said the ACC is a really bad conference, but, Michigan State looked good. We'll have to see this week. They looked really good week 1 against a bad Northwestern team. They hammer Youngstown State week 2. We'll see how they do this week. Noon start time against Miami. Most people picking Cincinnati over Indiana. Indiana has not looked good. And then most people are picking Penn State over Auburn. I have Penn State big in that one. I have BYU beating Arizona State. Arizona State was actually 3.5-point favorites in that game. I don't know if that is remains to be the case. College is with a player who scored a touchdown in week 1. So this is just a fun little thing to look at. Look at Akron. Who from Akron scored week 1? Central Michigan, that's Antonio Brown. But it's just fun to see like all the different universities, some of the, FCS schools in their Old Dominion, Northern Iowa. There's some interesting Eastern Washington I see. I remember them from March Madness. This is Oregon's future schedule, and I know there's been a lot of takes with Oregon. First, I want to say that was a great win for Oregon over Ohio State. Completely outcoached the Buckeyes. The Ohio State's defensive coordinator, Combs, is horrifically bad. 0 adjustments, 0 blitz. Single high safety look the whole game, and oh my goodness, I have nightmares of that game, but great win for Oregon. But I was looking at their schedule, and I'm a little concerned. I mean, look at their schedule. So they have a few easy games, obviously Stony Brook, let's be real. Arizona at home, at Stanford. Stanford, beat USC, but should be wins. California at home, that's an easy win. But then look at this, at UCLA, Colorado, at Washington. People think Washington is really bad. It's like later into the season, I think Washington's going to be a little bit better. That could be a tough game. Washington State at home is easy. At Utah is tough. And then Oregon State at home. So, I don't know. I mean, I like Oregon. Can they win out and go undefeated? The one thing to think about when it comes to Oregon, let's say they lose one game, but then win the Pac-12 championship. That really creates a major problem for Ohio State. Because if Ohio State wins out, and that's a long shot at this point, by the way, with Ohio State's defense, let's just say, because Ohio State does have the most talent in the Big Ten, let's say the Buckeyes went out. Now Ohio State's dealing with they're a one-loss conference champ. Oregon's a one-loss conference champ. Maybe Ohio State has the better strength of schedule, but Oregon has the head-to-head win in Columbus. In Columbus on the road where they controlled the whole game. If you're an Ohio State fan, you probably want Oregon to lose 2 games. Still look like a good team, but lose 2 games. Week 3 predictions, Alabama over Florida. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. Penn State, that's their whiteout game, by the way. I forgot to mention that, over Auburn. How about Tulane over Ole Miss? I'm not buying that, but I like the pick. It's a zesty pick. I think people kind of overrated Tulane week 1 when they kept it close with Oklahoma personally. But Ole Miss is a team that can't get upset. They just have a bad defense. BYU over Arizona State, yes. And then Michigan State over Miami. Michigan State and Miami is gonna be a really good game. It really is. College football top 5 speeds from ball carriers week 2. This is just a fun thing to look at. How about Brock Bowers, the tight end, makes this list at number 2. So that's just a cool thing to look at. You can see, Notre Dame's running back Chris Tyree in the tweet, but I thought that was just cool to see kind of the top overall player. Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson should be starting for Florida. Please don't do a 2-quarterback system. Although, Emory Jones can throw, but he's just struggled. You're facing Alabama. Anthony Richardson, use your legs against a team like Alabama. You'll need to. Just reacting to this overall game right here. Texas A&M 10-7 over Colorado. What is Texas A&M ranked? 5th or 6th right now? It's ridiculous. They have a terrible offense. They have a bad offense. You will not beat a team like Alabama with that bad of an offense. I know they're starting a first-year quarterback, but it just goes to show you. And I know he got injured, whatever, but I'm not impressed with King, the first-year quarterback. A&M is a bit overrated. I also think Florida's a bit overrated from the SEC, but really, you don't have the offense. People are talking about A&M because they have a home game against Alabama. You need an elite quarterback. You do. You need an elite quarterback, or you need a quarterback that has the potential to step up and be elite when it comes to winning, against elite talent like what Alabama has. How about a shout out to Calvin Austin III? In a single game, 239 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, average yards per reception, 39.8. These are video game numbers. You'll see these every week because it's college football. That's why I love college, guys. I know this is probably not a popular take. I love both of them, but I do like college football more than the NFL. It's a hot take. I know people don't agree. I love the NFL. I love it, but I do like college football a little bit more. And I love seeing numbers like that from Memphis. Memphis faced Arkansas State this week. Both offenses absurd. They go so quickly. The final score I think was 55-50. Boy, I wonder if the over hit in that one. Week 2 Heisman Power Rankings. You can see all quarterbacks. Oh, yeah, I wanted to show this because it's all quarterbacks. I'm not sure. Is Chris Rodriguez a quarterback? I'm not exactly sure on that one, but Calvin Austin is the only non-quarterback. How about Tua's brother coming in at number 10? He's a good player, man. He really is. CJ Stroud at number 6. Rattler at 5. He had a good game against, a terrible team, an FCS team, but Dylan Gabriel's there, Carson Strong. You guys can see Bryce Young, Matt Corral, not surprising. Round out the list there. This is just a weird situation here. Breaking, LSU running back John Emery is ineligible for the season due to being registered in the wrong academic class. Oh my goodness. The SEC fined Arkansas $100,000 for rushing the field after beating Texas. Was it worth? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that works. Why did they get fined? Was it because it was like a Power 5 team that you shouldn't storm the field? Like, I don't understand. Do teams get fined for storming the fields even in major upsets? I didn't think that was a thing. But maybe it is. I don't know. So this 76-0. Normally there's unwritten rules, and Ohio State's actually been really bad about this. But normally when, a team like Oklahoma faces Western Carolina, you really shouldn't run up the score that much. It's normally like you want to keep it like around 50. Clemson and Alabama both do that, where they will not run up the score against FCS or bad opponents. But I don't know if Oklahoma thought they needed style points or what. But I will tell you, Ohio State, the last two MAC schools we faced, Miami of Ohio, we scored 76 points, and then Bowling Green, we scored 77 points. So, I mean, there's like an unwritten rule. You shouldn't really run up the score against these horrifically, outmatched teams, outgunned teams. But I don't know. This was just a photo of the Maize Out. I got to give Michigan credit. This is why I love college football. What a phenomenal atmosphere. What an unbelievable atmosphere. Everyone's in yellow. It's great to see something like that. It really is. Asked about the USC head coach opening today, Urban Meyer said, quote, "There's no chance. I'm here and committed to trying to build this organization." So, yeah, I mean, the fact that this is already a possibility with Urban after one game in the NFL, is Urban a one and done? Is he just going to coach 1 year in the NFL? It's not going well. It's just been one game. He does have a really young superstar quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. We'll see how he develops. But, I mean, to me, it just, unless you get a really good offensive coordinator who's like this guru, like Trevor Lawrence, like you should be investing in Trevor Lawrence. Urban Meyer is clearly not a good quarterback coach. If you want to get a head coach for Trevor Lawrence, get someone who can develop, Urban Meyer. We see it so many other places. How about Kevin Stefanski with Baker Mayfield? I mean, these head coaches who are quarterback gurus, maybe Urban Meyer with the Jaguars is not a good fit, and then you hear about all the USC stuff. We will see. I obviously don't think they're going to fire him, at all until the end of the season at the earliest, so I think Urban's going to play out the year, but it is possible he could be a one and done with the Jaguars and then go back to college to coach USC. This was just something a lot of Ohio State fans realized. So the images on the left are from 2014, and the images on the right are the Oregon game. You can just see how depleted and just unaesthetic the field turf looks. I mean, that is a shocking difference. I don't know if they need to change it. I don't know what Ohio State players were slipping on Saturday, which is really weird. I don't know if it was their cleats, because Oregon players really weren't having that problem. But, I mean, it is so much brighter back in 2014 than it is now. I think 2014 was the first year they put in new field turf, and they haven't replaced it. I mean, and you can tell. I mean, it looks bad. Top 10 candidates who can replace Clay Helton. James Franklin. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of chatter about James Franklin. Matt Campbell, he's always going to be an option. Bill O'Brien, I don't think that would be a good hire at all. Luke Fickell would be a good hire. Fleck is interesting. Cristobal, I don't think he'd leave Oregon. Schiano, that would be a bad hire for USC. Elliott would be underwhelming. Peterson, underwhelming, and Stoops, underwhelming. If I'm USC, I'm trying to get either James Franklin, maybe Matt Campbell, we'll see how Iowa State's season goes, or Luke Fickell. And then, Cristobal, I don't think he's leaving. PJ Fleck would be kind of a wild card option. But those are some of the top candidates at this point. FCS teams with a win against an FBS team. I love FCS teams. These FCS teams came to play this year. They really are. How about Holy Cross getting a win? Montana beating a ranked team. That's hilarious. There's Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State beats Florida State. Oh my goodness. Current winless teams in college football. Shout out to Tulsa. Tulsa's going to probably stay winless. They face Ohio State this week. Cal is winless. We obviously know about Florida State and Washington. South Florida is horrific this year. South Florida is going to get destroyed in the American this year. I'm just telling you guys. New Mexico State. Doesn't New Mexico State face A&M this week, or is that just New Mexico? I think it might be just New Mexico. Early breakout players of the 2021 season. How about giving some hype to Brendan Armstrong? He really has been good for Virginia. I love it. Aiden Hutchinson's been a beast for Michigan. Absolute beast. Tua's brother, Drummond, the wide receiver for Ole Miss. Yes, there's some good names on that list. Some really good names on that list. Top 15 loudest and quietest stadiums. You just look at the top 15 quietest. Duke is number one. I'd say that's pretty accurate. Missouri, Pitt. Yeah, Pitt, it's tough. When you play at NFL stadiums, there's just no atmosphere. I saw, look at number 15 on most quiet. Texas A&M? What? They got to be one of the loudest. They have to be, what? I don't know what they're talking about. They're putting Texas A&M. You look at some of the loudest. I don't think of Oklahoma as being all that rabid. The Swamp is rabid. Penn State, especially during the whiteout. Georgia gets pretty loud. West Virginia, do they even sell out many games there? I don't know. Maybe I'm just ignorant about West Virginia, but I don't think they're completely loud. Notre Dame, no way. Notre Dame's got to be on the quiet list. Notre Dame, Michigan, and Ohio State should all be on the quiet list. They just don't have a lot of home field advantage. Here are some week 3 predictions. Bama by 11 over Florida. I would be kind of shocked if it was that close. Georgia hammering South Carolina. Penn State. I think Penn State wins by 2 scores personally. Wake Forest over Florida State. Florida State starts 0-3. The U by a field goal. Like I said, that'll be a really good game. USC, a lot of question marks around USC right now. They are way more talented than Washington State. We'll see if they're able to pull it out on the road with an interim coach. Oklahoma should demolish Nebraska. That's Fox's quote-unquote big noon game, and Oklahoma's about 24-point favorites. Notre Dame over Purdue. That'll be an interesting one. I have the under in that one. I love the under 58 in that one. And then Cincy beating Indiana. That's going to be a huge game for both of those programs. Both Cincinnati and Indiana. They both need that win really bad. Kind of up-and-coming programs. Indiana, the horrific loss week 1, completely derailed any sort of hype people had for them. Cincinnati kind of struggled a bit first half against Murray State last week in FCS school. Both of these teams need this win. I think it'll be a close game, and I'm interested to see which way it goes. And then this is just a funny meme thing. All the SEC coaches, what they would do for a living. There were some really good ones in here. Dan Mullen, real estate agent, I think is pretty accurate. Youth pastor Lincoln Riley, the Lincoln Riley one. Dude, that is, youth pastor Lincoln Riley is perfect. Nick Saban, used car salesman. That's what it should say, because that's the used car waste management. Ed Orgeron, mega church pastor. Kirby Smart, history teacher. Waste management. It's so accurate. Youth pastor. Oh, guys, but that is going to do it for this edition of your weekly dose of college football, guys. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.